when you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
Autodrom Most, we're here. Welcome to the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Welcome to EuroNASCAR. This is the NASCAR GP of the Czech Republic, August 26th and 27th. This has become a routine date on the Autodrom Most calendar. The EuroNASCAR weekend in recent seasons shared with the European Truck Racing Championship as well. It's a deluxe weekend of action, and as you can see, the cars just being released at the end of pit lane now, and the fans in their masses headed towards the grid walk. Countdown to command, the drivers start your engines, will happen in a little over 35 minutes time. Before then, we will get some reactions. We'll have some conversations between Andre Viegold and the EuroNASCAR drivers, both in the Pro and potentially a few of the EuroNASCAR 2 competitors who are also there on the ground for the grid walk. The fans making their way towards the grid. Part of the EuroNASCAR package that makes it so special is the unparalleled access that you get to the drivers, to the cars, to the teams over the course of the weekend. It's a great fan experience and one that has become beloved among those who are regulars here at the Autodrom Most. We've had great attendance all season long so far in the EuroNASCAR calendar. The category continues to thrive, not just in terms of competition, but also in terms of fan interest. And if you are joining us before this race, thank you so much for being here. We will be bringing you all of the action in the EuroNASCAR Pro category. Firstly, and of course EuroNASCAR 2 later on in the day. And the story in EuroNASCAR Pro this season has been one of the resurgence, after a slight hiccup at the beginning of the season, the resurgence of Jimmy Urkeley, Jan Marco Urkeley, who is the current championship leader. He'll be looking to capitalise on his current championship lead, extend his current championship lead. However, he is a little way down the grid. He's on row 4 of the grid for this race, which is a little bit lower than we're accustomed to for him. Typically, Jan Marco Urkeley is one of the quickest drivers out there. But he's going to have to work from a little bit further down this time out, because it is Vittorio Garelli on pole position. Vittorio Garelli will be lining up on the inside of the front row for the 2x2 formation rolling start. Paul Giffreau will be on the outside of the front row. So the newcomer to the EuroNASCAR Pro category. If you were joining us last time out at Vallelunga, you'll know that that was the debut weekend for Paul Giffreau in the EuroNASCAR Pro category. And he got started very well, and it looks as if he means to go on in the same manner. Anthony Kumpen and Sebastian Blekemolen on row 2 of the grid, one of the most experienced second rows I can remember in recent times. The number 69 car of Sebastian Blekemolen, the number 24 PK Car Sport entry of Anthony Kumpen. There's our pole sitter, Paul Giffreau, who will exit the car just as soon as he can. Warm conditions, of course, here at the Autodrom Most. You saw there the winner sticker on top of his door. That's because he claimed his first ever win in EuroNASCAR 2 last time out at Vallelunga, and he'll be looking to try and match that effort in EuroNASCAR 2 and maybe get a win on the board in EuroNASCAR Pro as well. He's certainly in a good position to do so. There is your championship leader, Jan Marco Urkeley. course, the early stage of the season, the points lead was in the hands of Lucas Leclerc, who still sits second in the championship, just 12 points back from Gianmarco Ercoli. So Lucas Leclerc will be looking to try and get some solid points on the board. Again, that's really been the story of his weekend. It's been getting those points on the board, story of his season, I should say. Getting the points on the board is the entire reason that Leclerc is there. It's not been outstanding race-winning form. He's taken a win, but he has largely just kept himself consistently in the top 10, maybe in the top 5, depending on how the race stacks up. And that's why Lucas Leclerc is a championship contender. The wily dog is simply keeping his nose clean, where sometimes there have been dramas elsewhere in the pack. Leclerc, incidentally, another driver who was rather surprisingly eliminated before the top 10 shootout. He was not there He was not there in Superpole earlier on because he is on row 6 of the grid, so he'll be starting well down the order. However, someone who's a little bit further up the grid is Paul Giffreau, and I see that he's with Andre.
Thank you so much, Adam. Yes, I'm here with Paul Giffreau. You confirmed your really solid performance in EuroNASCAR Pro.
Yeah, the team is doing a really good job. This was really tricky condition and the car was perfect. It didn't make me feel, I didn't add fear during the quali lap, so that's why I try to gain a little bit of meters at each break. So yeah, so the lap is not bad. We done P2, quite far from P1, but now it's dry, so the car will be in the new hands of everyone, so we will see.
After Brands Hatch driving in the rain for the first time in your life, now again a wet session. Do you get used to the rainy conditions?
Yeah, and yeah, the car is so cool because you can feel everything. That's why I love EuroNASCAR, because I don't know how to tell it, but the chassis give you all the information you need to see if you can go, if you cannot. And that's not why I didn't do mistake, because there was some turns that it was a bit not good, but yeah, it's so cool because the car can give you the information, and with a good setup you can push a bit more, and yeah, good.
Okay, merci beaucoup, good luck, and we go back to Adam.
Thank you very much, Andre. Great to hear from Paul Giffreau, replacing Frédéric Gabillon as of Vallelunga in the EuroNASCAR Pro category. I know that Frédéric Gabillon is still very much involved with the team and coaching Paul Giffreau, giving him the benefits of his significant experience in the EuroNASCAR category, kind of serving as a mentor now as Paul Giffreau leads RDV competition. Back to the very front of the pack in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Speaking of people towards the front of the pack for the first time in EuroNASCAR Pro, Jack Davidson. Let's go down to Andre.
Thank you so much, Adam. Yes, a pleasant surprise. You're pulling double duty for the first time in EuroNASCAR, and it works really well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a shock, to be fair, because Jurgen was meant to be racing the Pro this weekend, but he thought the race weekend was next week. So, I mean, there was no one in the car, so the team asked if I wanted to do the Pro. So I said yeah. It was quite taxing yesterday. I think overall yesterday I done like 300-400 miles all day. So, I mean, that's quite a lot. Had a sore neck and sore shoulders by the end of it. But, I mean, yeah, today was good, so.
But what about the car? You are really, really fast at this Autodrom. Have you ever been racing it before in your life?
The first time I'd seen the track was on Friday, yesterday. So, I mean, to be up kind of up the front, well, not up the front, but inside top 10 of Pro and then third in the Euro 2 is good. I mean, I'm sponsored by a sim company. You'd think I would have a go in the sim before I come, but yeah, I didn't get around to it. So, yeah, yesterday was the first time on the track. Really good track, and the weather's mega as well, so looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. Good luck and have fun.
Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
You know what? If Jack Davidson's not using his GT Omega hardware, I will. Can he send it to me? If he's not going to use it to do laps of Most, I'll do it. And I'll give him some feedback. Yeah, Jack Davidson has been really impressive this weekend. I think part of his qualifying performance very much down to the fact that he has done a lot of racing in the UK, and with racing in the UK comes experience in the wet. It's what we do, particularly up towards Scotland, where Jack Davidson hails. So, yes, his wet weather driving ability is very impressive. I also think that his racecraft given he's raced a lot of saloon cars in the UK, I think his racecraft should be just as good. So I'm intrigued to see how he manages this opportunity now in EuroNASCAR Pro, and indeed being towards the front for the first time in EuroNASCAR 2. You saw there Alberto Nasca signing some autographs. Vittorio Gorelli a little less busy with the pen, but he does have a microphone in front of him. So let's go down there.
Thank you so much, Adam. I'm here with the pole sitter Vittorio Gorelli. The second hour of the season could be your charge to the front of the pack, right?
Yeah, it's hot conditions. Quali was wet conditions, and now it's track temperature is quite high, so it'll be tricky. But we were fast in free practice in the dry, so I think we have a good baseline. We just need to put it in the front, and get the P1. We'll give it a roll as always, and hope to give good show for the fans.
Any explanation what changes between the setups when you are in the wet and in the dry? What do you change?
Well, a lot of things, but it's secret, top secret. Can't say that, but yeah, generally wet car you need more traction, so you soften the car all around a bit, but I can't get too much in the details,
Totally understand that. Merci. Merci, grazie. I'm totally switching up the languages at the moment because we have so many nationalities on the grid. So, grazie mille and good luck.
Cheers, thanks. Bye-bye.
Back to you, Adam.
Well, I'm glad Vittorio Gorelli at least told you that the car is softer, because I would have done if he didn't. Yes, you want a soft car, you want a compliant car in the wet conditions. In the dry, you can afford a stiffer car, a car that's maybe slightly more snappy because you've got the traction underneath you from the dry tarmac. In the wet, you just need as soft of a machine as possible. Often a converted road car is quicker in the wet than a purebred race car. In kind of national level saloon car racing, for that very reason, because the car is more inherently soft as a former road car. There's Vladimiros Tsiotsis signing some autographs, the EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 double-up artist. The Cypriot driver, you see there, he's got the Cyprus flag with him, which he carries like a torch throughout the world. And here, Andre with another driver.
Thank you so much. I'm here with Tobias Downhauer. It seems like the progression and the development in the promotion team is really working well, because every time you're at the track, you're really, really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. My team improved a lot, learned about the last races. And we were fast in the rain, really fast. And now we see how it goes in dry conditions. And I'm looking forward.
I saw that your team is quite small. You have 4 people around the car working on it, but it seems like quality is over quantity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We are a really small team. Maybe next year we will get bigger and with another car, but we will see what the future brings. And at the moment we are a small team, but with a good pace. And looking forward, like I said.
Thank you so much. Now it's getting easy for me to say thank you in this language because we are both Germans. Vielen, vielen Dank.
Dankeschön. Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
I know Dankeschön. I know that one. Excellent. Tobias Downhauer and the promotion team joining us at Brands Hatch after missing out on Valencia, the brand new team. They've been really impressive. Tobias has been quick, and the promotion car seems to have been underneath him all along. They've been illuminating each other much like fireflies. And it's been great to see Tobias Downhauer getting his opportunity to launch a campaign in EuroNASCAR Pro. He will be starting from the outside of row 3, so 6th on the grid for Tobias Downhauer. He'll be starting alongside Liam Hazemans, the reigning EuroNASCAR 2 champion. Hazemans will be looking for a better run of form, frankly, than he has had in recent times. It's been a struggle for him. Anthony Kumpen will also be looking to get a good result on the board. Let's go down to Andre.
Searching for the way back to victory lane. Do you think today is the day?
We will see. Conditions are completely different. In the first practice, which I did with the club, went really well. So I think we have a good pace. It's very close everywhere, and this morning with the qualifying being humid and drying up, you had to gamble a bit with the setup. We had too much understeer, but the pace is good. We can win, but first you have to pass the first corner here because it's a crazy corner, the first one.
Do you think experience is key in the first corner because you know exactly what's going to happen?
No, you know, it depends on the other ones what's going to happen. I know what I will do, but no, but you cannot do a lot if somebody hits you from behind or whatever. It's just being safe in the first corner and then, you know, trying to keep the pace. I think will be a tough race for everybody because tire degradation here is quite good. So in that perspective, I have a plan, yes.
All right, thank you so much, dankjewel, and good luck.
Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
Thank you, Andre. Always good to hear from Anthony Kumpen. Kumpen, who has a huge following in his native Belgium. Speaking of people with huge followings here in the Czech Republic, there is Martin Dubek, the home country hero for this weekend. He hasn't had a great run of it in qualifying, though. The wet conditions did not suit Martin Dubek in Hendricks Motorsport car. He starts on the outside of row 6 in this EuroNASCAR Pro race. It's much the same story for him later on in EuroNASCAR 2 as well. However, Dubek has been very impressive here previously, so we'll have to see whether now it's dry, whether he and the team have put together a car that can bring him back through the order. He'll be starting alongside Lucas Lasser, so it's a very competitive row 6 of the grid, to say the least, further back in the pack. We are 22 minutes away from the countdown to the start command, so racing will begin shortly thereafter. Once the command is given, the formation lap begins in short order. I'm very much looking forward to hearing the sounds of these wonderful V8 stock cars for the first time since the summer break. We've been away for a few weeks since Vallelunga, and we are excited to be back with you in EuroNASCAR. Back down to Andre, though.
Thank you so much. I'm here with Sebastian Blekemolen, the umbrella, not for the rain, but for the sun.
I brought the umbrella for the sun, yeah. Yeah, it was tricky this morning. It was raining, and yeah, we didn't drove on the rain yet this weekend, so it was a challenging qualifying, but it worked out.
When I look into the sky, I don't think we will have the same like 2 years ago.
No, that was a race. Fuck, after I think 10 laps or 8 laps, it started raining, and we had to change tires, which is very uncommon in the series. So no, now it's dry, and I prefer the dry, so I'm happy.
Do you think you have the car to fight for a podium position and maybe the win again?
Well, if you look to the left, then you see Vittorio on P1, my teammate, and I'm on P4. So we had a good qualifying. I think the car was fast yesterday also because he ended up at the top of the standing. So we can fight for the podium.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Dankjewel and good luck.
Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
A slight language apology there on behalf of Sebastian Blekemolen, but it was jolly hot here last year when the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series rolled into town. And Sebastian Blekemolen with a great opportunity here from row 2 of the grid to advance up the pack, maybe towards a podium, starting from 4th place on the outside of row 2 with an adversary in the form of Anthony Kumpen. A very familiar adversary at times, has also been a teammate, Anthony Kumpen, with Sebastian Blekemolen. So we'll see if and how they coexist when they get this race underway. That run down to the first corner is all important, and of course the first chicane here that was installed around 2005, it's very tight. That first turn is quite a difficult area. So much so, actually, that the ruling has come down from EuroNASCAR that all of the restarts for any safety cars that we have during this weekend will be single file. You may be accustomed to double file restarts here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. However, this weekend, owing to the profile of that corner, the ruling has come down that we're going to do a single file restart, and I think that makes all the sense in the world because if you look back at last year's race, yes, there were some issues with the double file restarts going into that chicane. It all got a bit too close for comfort on several occasions. Fabrizio Armetta, well, he qualified inside the top 10. However, he was handed a 10-place penalty after qualifying, so he's actually all the way back on the 9th row of the grid, unfortunately. So row 9, as I know these guys are getting a picture. I don't know if they realise they're on international television as well. Hello. Fabrizio Armetta, though, row 9 of the grid for him. That is a big disappointment for Armetta because he put in what I would suggest was his best qualifying position, or best qualifying performance of the season so far, but unfortunately the penalty afterwards invalidating that somewhat. Dario Casso, who also had a good quali, he starts from the very back of the grid, unfortunately, for similar reasons. There's Thomas Tuchel, who is one of a few drivers who doubles up. I think more doubling up than recent years, actually, among the drivers. It does seem that we have a lot of drivers testing their stamina. You heard Jack Davidson talking about it in his interview earlier on. It's no mean feat driving that hard for that long across a day. Andre, you're already in shot, my friend, so let's talk to you now.
Thank you so much, Adam. We were already live. So I'm here with Patrick Bendorfer, the team owner of Brimotion. You must be very happy with your debut season, right?
Yeah, it's okay. So remember, this is our third event here, and now in row third. We were very fast in the qualifying with P1. In the Super Pole it was okay, but yeah, 6 is a good position for a good race.
Do you enjoy EuroNASCAR racing?
It's a dream, yeah. You have such a great people and great cars and the sound of the cars. So good racing, pure racing without BOP and so no political things. So just racing and gone.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Good luck. Vielen, vielen Dank. And we'll go back to Adam.
Thank you, Andre. Yeah, the promotion team have been really impressive this season. I can't say enough about how hard it is at any level in motorsport to install yourself in mid-season, no less, as a new team and stick the landing. So it's hugely impressive. Michaela Dorchikova there, who will be driving the #1 car in this race. It's an all-female team. Stefani Mogorovic there just waving at the camera as well. So an all-female driver pairing. Of course, for both drivers, this is, I think, their closest circuit on the calendar as well. Michaela Dorchikova, who raced with us earlier in the year at Valencia. And there I see the helmet still saying, I think, Loris Hazeman's. However, it's been Liam's for a while now. He's down with Andre.
Thank you so much. I was offered a very, very nice seat on this beautiful Toyota Camry fielded by Hendrix Motorsport. Liam Hazemans, Jill Insta, we start with you. What is your plan for today?
Well, first of all, try to get through the first corner, because we know here in Most how it always goes. It's always someone tries to win the race in the first corner, but so try to get through the first 2 corners and then, yeah, just building up the race from there. I mean, yesterday we saw the car was really, really fast. I think we have one of the best cars for in the dry, so I think it's 17 laps, so we have a good chance to get up in the front for sure.
You're in the spectator row right now. Do you have any advice for him?
Just keep the car together and yeah, make it into turn 1 and then it's all good.
He needs to keep the car clean so you can race in EuroNASCAR too.
Exactly, yeah.
I'll try. I will try.
All right, so back to you, Adam. I think I stay a little bit longer here.
Looks quite comfy, that, actually, Andre. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Very luxe sofa you've got there. Liam Hazeman's been given his instructions by Jill Linster. Liam will do all he can, of course, to get a good result in today. I think at this stage, frankly, it's not really possible for Liam to be a championship contender this year. Sadly, he is some way down the point standings. Where is he exactly? He's 9th place in the point standings. He is only 54 points off, to be fair, so if he has a good weekend and some others falter, he could find himself in championship contention if things go perfectly from here on out. But he's had a difficult beginning to his season. Of course, though, it's double points when we come to Zolder, the season finale, and that's also kind of his most local circuit on the calendar as well, the circuit Zolder. So Liam Hazeman's currently an outside shot at the championship, but a little bit of fortune could quickly change that. And we now go down to Andre with Jimmy Ercole.
Thank you so much, Adam. I'm here with Gianmarco Ercole. A very difficult task for you today because qualifying didn't went so well, right?
Yeah, we start very fast in the qualifying. I don't show all my speed, but in Super Pole the track change and I know go very fast. But it's good. The qualifying is out. Now is the race. It's possible arrive in the position good, I try to do it.
Top 5 podium, what do you think is possible?
I think it's possible the podium, but this track is all time difficult for the overtake. But the big problem is the first corner. After the first corner, I take the best strategy because it's much important to arrive with all the car okay. And in the all the race is very big problem.
All right, thank you so much, grazie mille, good luck and have fun. We go back to you, Adam.
Yeah, that first corner is the talking point this weekend for the drivers, certainly. I think peace treaties being signed informally through the garages. Look, I won't stack it into the first corner if you don't, kind of thing. Jimmy Erkley saying it's difficult to overtake around here. Well, Alberto Nasca was just next to him. Nasca went from 11th to the win in the Euro Legend race that took place just before EuroNASCAR came out onto the circuit. So potentially, if there's anyone to ask about overtaking, then it would be Alberto Nasca. Let's go down now to Andre once again.
Thank you so much. I'm here with Vladimir Tsiotsis. Like Gianmarco Ercole, you have a lot of work to do, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was a tricky qualifying. No wet, no dry, a lot of wheel spin. All the gears that you were using, you had to face the wheel spin, but anyway, it's passed. Now it's fully dry. Let's hope today at least to stay like this. So for everyone, it will be a smooth two races. From my side, I will push, of course, like the rest of the drivers, to score as much important points as possible is the main goal. And of course, we are looking for the front places.
You have some special guests here from your home country, right?
Yeah, it was a surprise yesterday afternoon to be informed that the ambassador of Cyprus in Czech Republic is coming. I already met him, so proud and glad that he's here to give me power. Yeah, I am sure they are enjoying a lot.
Thank you so much, and we go back to Adam.
Vladimir Tsiotsis really is proving to be a fruitful ambassador for Cyprus, not just in motorsport, but in the wider European sporting community in general. He recently filmed a video promoting Cyprus that went out on social media. Visit Cyprus, the tourism board, working with Vladimiros. And yeah, he's been fabulous this season. I'm intrigued to see how he performs from his position on the grid. He will be starting on the 5th row of the grid inside of row 5, P9 for Vladimir Tsiotsis. He will have some work to do. And just behind him in the 2x2 formation will be Lucas Lasser in the 64 car. So the championship runner-up currently, second place in the championship right now, early championship leader Lucas Lasser. He'll have some work to do to get himself up into the high points, but he's already done it this year. He started in a poor place at Vallelunga last time out in the first race and managed to work his way back into the top 5 and a solid points finish. So for Lucas Lasser, starting towards the middle of the pack isn't necessarily a bad sign. He can work it from there. He's just going to stay out of trouble. And again, around the circuit of Most, the Autodrom Most, that is difficult. It's a 4.2 kilometre circuit, 2.6 miles in length, and somehow the circuit builders managed to fit 21 corners into the layout. So it's very tricky, very technical, as you can see from this above shot. The first chicane, very tight, very much a first gear corner. They reprofiled it about 18 years ago now. The remainder of the lap is very sinuous and snaking. There are plenty of braking zones. It does look rather mid-speed for a majority of the lap, but in reality there are still some very deep braking zones. Turn 10 is of course an optimal overtaking opportunity, as is turn 6, turn 13 and turn 15, as well as the last couple of corners of the lap. So expect plenty of action to come from what we see around this circuit. For Jimmy Ercole, the championship leader, it's going to be quite the task to work his way up and get some solid points on the board. You heard him say, I'm trying for a podium. However, hat's being removed. I believe it's national anthem time. Just yet, I believe. So, oh, we are. Sorry, my apologies. I'll let them go. So there you go. The Czech and the US anthems are done. And apologies for interrupting that. Slightly far removed from the nearest speaker, so it's difficult for me to tell sometimes whether or not the anthems are playing. But one of the highlights of the weekend is this kind of clash of cultures between Europe and America. That's kind of the modus operandi of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and part of that, the symbolism of having the US anthems and the local anthem back to back. And we have had the odd American driver, of course, as well, representing, but largely this is the space where European drivers can maybe showcase themselves under the NASCAR banner for a move up into the main game, the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Truck, the National Series in the US, the pinnacle of NASCAR competition. But of course, just as many make a career and make an impact, a lasting legacy on motorsport in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Our champion from last year, Alan Day, as a prime example. But some of them do use it as kind of a feeder into the NASCAR Cup Series. And I think we'll see more of that on an international basis in the years to come. Of course, the Pinty Series in Canada, the Mexican Series as well, have long been established. But this year, a Brazilian Series added to the NASCAR portfolio. And also, of course, we have the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series long established here on European shores. And as you see the likes of Jenson Button and Kamui Kobayashi taking an interest in making guest starts in the NASCAR Cup Series, as you see the likes of Shane Van Gisbergen making the move over potentially on a full-time basis for the NASCAR Cup Series as well. I think you'll see more and more young European racers using the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series to maybe advance forward. Andre Viegold, back to you.
Thank you so much. I have a surprise for you. Where is she? Alina Leibneger, divided by a pit wall, but okay, that's fine. What do you expect for your race later in EuroNASCAR 2?
Yeah, I hope it will be a good race, but yeah, now is the focus on the pro race, so I wish all drivers the best and I hope for a really, really good race.
What do you think about the performance of your teammate Tobias Downhauer so far?
Yeah, really nice. So he was also in the Super Bowl, so yeah, the car is fast and that's great.
How was your welcome at the Promotion team? Because you were at Racing Fuel for the first half of the season, you're now back in EuroNASCAR 2. How was it?
It was really nice. The guys are great and they do a great job and I feel really comfortable and yeah, it's nice.
Thank you so much. Vielen Dank. See you later and we go back to Adam.
I'm afraid your cameraman rather spoiled that surprise because we saw Alina drop down behind the wall to to perform that entrance. But it was a grand entrance, worthy of the Fireflies, worthy of Bray Wyatt, perhaps. Excellent to hear from Alina. She's in good spirits at the moment, and there is the car that she'll be racing in EuroNASCAR 2, as we alluded to. Change of teams for her, but she seems to be moving into the promotion fold nicely. And as she said, clearly got a quick car because Tobias Downhauer has been doing a great job with it so far in EuroNASCAR Pro since the team debuted in the EuroNASCAR Pro fold at Brands Hatch. So a lot of interesting storylines coming into this race. Gianmarco Ercoli, our championship leader, sitting well down the grid. Lucas Lasser, second place in the championship, also well down the grid. Anthony Kumpen, who is just 25 points off the championship lead, 187 points for Kumpen versus Gianmarco Ercoli's 212. Anthony Kumpen, starting from third on the grid, could actually really make a dent in the championship lead of Gianmarco Ercoli if things fall in his favour. Vittorio Gorelli, of course, the pole sitter, he's fourth in the championship, just 28 points off as well. So you could see a real shift in the balance of the championship going into tomorrow and the rest of the season based on the results of this race. It's going to be critical for the likes of Jimmy Ercoli and the likes of Lucas Lasser to work their way up the order. For Kumpen, for Gorelli, realistically, you've got to take advantage of this, you know. It's kind of a wild animal instinct. You have to follow the buzzards to your fallen prey and take the liberties you must. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see out of both parties, out of Gorelli and Kumpen. Mark Goosens, who's fifth in the standings, unfortunately not here this weekend. So that opens up the door to the likes of Yulis Delso and Vladimiros Tsiotsis to make up some positions in the championship as well. The maths, the championship connotations, all secondary in the minds of the drivers right now, though, because we've got 1 minute and 15 seconds until the command is given to begin this motor race. And the command, incidentally, will be given by Vladimiros Tsiotsis' special guest. That is the Grand Marshal of, well, the Grand Marshal is the ambassador of Cyprus in Czechia, His Excellence, Mr. George Yangu. And His Excellence, that's a very good title. And certainly the excellence of Vladimiros Tsiotsis, one of the reasons that George Yangu is here to give the command. A lot of local support in Cyprus for Tsiotsis. I'm sure many of you in Cyprus tuning in to cheer on Vladimiros in both of today's races. Let's go down to the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
There you go. Never has anyone felt more powerful. Even His Excellence has never felt more powerful than giving the command and allowing over 20 V8 racing cars to thunder up into life. And we are now in the final stages of getting this race underway. If you aren't already off the grid, run, because we are about to get started with the race here, the EuroNASCAR Pro race, our first of 4 races across both EuroNASCAR categories this weekend. It's a deluxe weekend, the NASCAR Grand Prix of Czechia, EuroNASCAR 2, EuroNASCAR Pro, Euro Legend Cup, European Truck Racing Championship as well. There's so much going on this weekend. It's a hive of activity, the Most Paddock. But the loudest and proudest of the activity, the EuroNASCAR Pro category, is about to get underway. So there goes our pace car, now leading the field on the formation lap. It will be Vittorio Garelli who starts from pole position in this race. The Team Blake-Molen number 72 car alongside Paul Giffreau in the number 3. Giffreau once again showing his worth in EuroNASCAR Pro. Anthony Kumpen in third alongside Sebastian Blake-Molen in 4th place. Liam Hasemans P5 alongside Tobias Dauenhauer in the promotion car. 7th place for Gianmarco Ercoli, our championship leader. Jack Davidson on his EuroNASCAR Pro debut. In 8th place, Vladimiros Siortsis on row 5, joined by Ulis Del So. 11th place for Lucas Lasser, who's currently 2nd in the championship. Martin Dubeck on home turf. He starts from P12. Riccardo Romagnoli in 13th position. 14th place for Thomas Chrysonis in the 46. Neo Lambert in the 40, starting from 15th place. Alongside Massimilio Lanza. So Massimilio Lanza in the 88, starting from 16th. Thomas Tefel on row 9 in 17th. He's alongside Fabrizio Armetta in the 55. He one of 2 drivers who suffered a penalty at the start of the weekend with the qualifying. Michaela Dorchikova starting from row 10. Alongside Giorgio Maggi, who hopefully is there. I don't think Maggi set a lap in qualifying. Was trying to see whether or not Giorgio's car was there. I believe it is. Yes, I see the bright yellow machine. I believe that is Giorgio Maggi's car, so hopefully he's out there. Dario Casso, meanwhile, at the back of the pack after his 10 place grid drop as well. So then, the formation lap is heading to its conclusion, and from there we will go racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Pro Class EuroNASCAR Pro. We're about to resume battle in the critical second half of the year. 10 races across 5 destinations form the regular season in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. 2 of the results from that 10 race span are dropped. The worst 2 results get dropped from each driver's points. And then you head into the decider, the double points finale at Zolder. Some eyes firmly focused on that prize. Others focused simply on getting a good result here today at the Autodrom Most. For the likes of Garelli, Kumpen, Ercoli, and Lucas Lasser, they need a healthy combination of both. They can't afford a bad race. They also can't afford a non-finish. So they've got to attack. They've got to defend without pushing it too far. Vittorio Garelli starts from the inside of the front row. Turn 21, the final corner of the lap, is all that awaits us now. They head onto the main straight, and soon they will go racing. 2x2 start for what will be the only time today. Any subsequent restarts will be single file. So let's see if everyone can get through the chicane in one piece. We are rolling and racing at the Autodrom Most, and immediately going 3 wide. Sebastian Blake-Molen gets a really good launch from the second row of the grid. Tries to get in amongst it, but it's going to be his Team Blake-Molen teammate that leads. Oh, and contact at the first hurdle. 3 into 1 simply didn't go. Tobias Dauenhauer's in the gravel. Anthony Kumpen, Sebastian Blake-Molen making contacts, and Liam Hasemans as well. Liam Hasemans has his bonnet up in front of his windscreen. Liam Hasemans' unfortunate season in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Pro category only continues. Hugely unfortunate for the young Dutchman. But look at how this is shaken out now. It is Garelli in the lead, and in second place is Vladimiros Siortsis. Well, you'd have got good odds on that at the bookies, and equally Martin Dubeck in third position. This has really mixed up the order. We've lost several front runners in one shot there. I think Paul Giffreau has gone missing as well. But Vittorio Garelli leads by a country mile. Full course yellow has been declared. I think there are cars plural in the sand after that dramatic start. Yes, indeed. Downhauer and I think Dufro's car are still down there at turn 1. My thanks to photographer Daniel for confirming that. And there is Liam Hazeman's, whose car shouldn't be unsalvageable. They should just be able to get those bonnet pins attached and get the car back out there. And he shouldn't lose a lap in that process either. So for Liam Hazeman's, that could have gone much worse than it has. But still, the run of misfortune continues. So again, keep an eye on second, third and fourth places. Gorelli turns into the first corner successfully. Kumpen's getting a nudge from Hazeman's behind. So Hazeman sent Kumpen into that collision. And in the process of that, lifted his own bonnet. Downhauer was somehow tagged and spun around as well. Seb Blakemolen's car injured and damaged. It heads into the pit lane. Hazeman's will, of course, also head into the pits. But I think, unless Liam got a nudge too, which is very possible heading into that first chicane, I certainly won't rule out that Hazeman's was it was an innocent bystander in that as well, because it's very possible around this circuit. But certainly it was Hazeman's into the back of Kumpen that triggered us losing half of the top 5. And there's another high-profile casualty. Our championship leader, Gianmarco Ercoli, only just now limping back to the pits. Quite how he was involved in that, I'm not entirely certain. In fact, I'm just zooming in on the picture that I was sent from turn 1. It was Gianmarco Ercoli in the gravel along with Tobias Downhauer. So Ercoli ended up in the gravel at turn 1 as well. Thankfully, he's gotten the car going, but significant damage, not just in terms of bodywork, but I feel like the suspension might be slightly out of whack. You saw the exhaust dragging as well. There's a lot wrong with that Cal Racing number 54 car, and that could be huge in the championship. Remember what I said earlier on about following the buzzards to your fallen prey? That's exactly what the rest of the order is now going to do, with the championship leader limping back to pit lane. Particularly Vittorio Gorelli. Vittorio Gorelli, who sits 4th in the championship, has now got a golden opportunity before him. Of course, he had that brilliant lead after the first couple of corners, and he still has it, of course, because we're under full course yellow. This must be the most frustrating drive of Vladimiros Siotis' life, because he's just idling around 2,500 RPM in second gear is the full course yellow procedure. And they'll be keeping an eye on the time deltas to make sure that everyone is adhering to that. And for Siotis, that means he's idling around, just watching Gorelli drive along a few seconds up the road. That's got to be frustrating for him. Now, oftentimes this season, full course yellow has become a safety car. I'm sure that Vittorio Gorelli is lobbying down the radio against that procedure for all he is worth. We're getting a replay now of that start once again. I'm just keeping an eye on Ercoli. I think Ercoli was just run out of room a little bit and ended up hitting Tobias Downhauer, because it didn't look like he was in any strife before he went into the gravel trap, but it looked like he just missed his braking or simply couldn't turn into the corner. He was on the outside line trying to sneak around, and it didn't really work for him. Green flag flying. We are racing once again, and I think that Vladimiros Siotis was caught napping, because through has gone Martin Dubek. Dubek with a fairy tale beginning to this race. Home nation hero, the Czech driver, is running in second place. Bear in mind, he started the race on row 6 in 12th position, and he's up in second place now. We begin lap 3 of 17. With Vittorio Gorelli 2.4 seconds up the road. There's Gianmarco Ercoli with a very, very second-hand Chevrolet Camaro. He rejoins the race a lap down. Even if he gets the flag, he is going to take a significant hit in terms of championship points here. Gianmarco Ercoli is circulating purely to score those points, though. It's going to be a long day for him. Your order, then. After all of that unfolded, it's Vittorio Garelli in the lead, Martin Dubek in second place, Vladimir Osiortis down to third place off the restart, Anthony Kumpen in fourth position, Lucas Lasserre in fifth place, Neo Lambert in sixth, Riccardo Romagnoli, the challenger class leader, in seventh, Ulysse Delso in eighth, Thomas Chrysonis in ninth, and Thomas Tefel in 10th. And the big question now is, can Martin Dubek potentially reel in Vittorio Garelli? Certainly Dubek knows this circuit. He's been quick at this circuit in years gone by as well. Didn't have a good run in the wet qualifying earlier this morning, but that was a very different set of circumstances from the race that we've got now. However, Vittorio Garelli, a former AutoGP champion, the former kind of second-tier single-seater series of a decade ago, won that championship in 2013, former EN2 champ as well. Garelli is going to be no slouch, and I dare say that with that lead that he had, that has been retained and restored by the full course yellow, he could be home free here if he keeps his nose clean. It's 3.8 seconds, the gap between Garelli and Dubek in second place, and I think that's in no small part because Dubek is having to drive through the mirrors. Siortsis is there in third position, right on the back of Martin Dubek. Ulysse Delso there in 8th place in the distinctive number 14 Speedhouse car. Martin Dubek under significant pressure. Siortsis won't be best pleased with the fact that Dubek got the jump on him, of course. Racing drivers don't like that, but as the full course yellow ended, Dubek managed to negotiate his way past Siortsis. We didn't see exactly how it happened, but we did see the conclusion of the move as Dubek launched the car away that little bit quicker. And now Vladimiros Siortsis is plotting his way back past into second position. Anthony Kumpen is of course right there with them. Just a few car lengths back, maybe half a second, 7/10 of a second back. And of course he'll be willing them on. He'll say, right, go on Vladimiros, have a look to the inside as you are doing. Keep doing that and I will close in and try and get past both of you. Anthony Kumpen has seen and done it all in the racing world. And sure enough, even just those couple of corners there of offensive and defensive driving from Siortsis and Dubek respectively closed Kumpen in no end. Here comes Ulysse Delso. He's on the back of Riccardo Romagnoli, your challenger class leader. Delso trying to go around the outside there. Sadly, I thought I saw Giorgio Maggi's car out there, but sadly it doesn't appear that the 18 car has taken the start, so issues for the Race Art Technology machine, sadly. Had to do a big rebuild overnight, but it doesn't appear to have been successful. And a few other teams are going to have a big rebuild now, if not before tomorrow, before the EuroNASCAR 2 race later on today. Riccardo Romagnoli there, very, very wide indeed out of turn 10. Ulysse Delso sees the opportunity, has a look to the inside at the kink, now down towards turn 13. Oh, Romagnoli locking up the brakes in a major way, and there was nothing he could do to avoid the gravel there. He drops down behind the 46 car of Davidson. 48 car I should say, of 46 car of Chrysonis. Davidson is behind Romagnoli now on circuit. Davidson lost out a little bit there, didn't he, off the start in that dramatic first corner, but he's managed to survive it, which is more than can be said for some of the other drivers. Worth noting, as Davidson runs out wide there in the back of shot, I think he tried to dive up the inside of Romagnoli. And he ended up overcooking it into the gravel trap. We just saw in the back of shot there, Davidson running it off onto the gravel, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Siortsis has gotten past Dubek, so Martin Dubek has been dropped down to 3rd place now, and it's side by side for 4th place. Lucas Lasser has managed to get past Anthony Kumpen, so the 2nd and 3rd place drivers in the championship shuffling around a bit here. Lucas Lasser on the verge of a podium here. And if Lasser finishes in the top 5, then Jimmy Erkely finishes down in 19th, where he is currently circulating. I'm fairly sure that's going to mean that Lucas Lasser will resume the championship lead, which is an unexpected twist in the tail for certain. Lucas Lasser, once again, consistently scoring points and making the flag, and that's the most important thing. You see a stop-go penalty there for number 50. That's Liam Hazemans. I was just about to comment that Liam Hazemans has managed to stay on the lead lap. He's 1 minute and 11 seconds off the lead. However, stop-go penalty. He's going to lose a lap there. He's going to end up a lap down. Of course, it matters significantly, because if there is a full safety car at any point in this race and you're on the lead lap, well, that's effectively your lap gained back. However, Hazemans is going to fall a lap down with that stop-go penalty. Here comes Lasser to the inside of Martin Dubek. Nicely done by Lucas Lasser. He gets through into 3rd position. Anthony Kumpen senses an opportunity as well. I think just almost tagged the back of Dubek there. Gets a good run out of the corner. Neo Lambert also investigating his options. Lambert having by far his best showcase of the season so far. Right on the back of the highly experienced Anthony Kumpen and holding his own. The incidents here in the early going have really thrown the cat among the pigeons. But much like a cat without a care, Garelli is disappearing up the road. 6.4 seconds clear in the lead of this race right now. Dubek showing the signs of battle himself. He's got some parts missing on the number 7 on the right front corner. I think just about everybody managed to whack somebody else in some capacity going into turn 1. Numerous incidents going on at once. Liam Hazemans has been attributed some of the blame and has received a stop-go penalty. Here comes Anthony Kumpen then in the slipstream behind Dubek, and it looks as though Kumpen's got the straight line speed edge. Later on the brakes there, very, very self-assured braking there from Anthony Kumpen. Got that car stopped just in time. And Kumpen moves his way up to 4th position, so Dubek, after the high of being in 2nd place after the full course yellow restart, is now back down to P5, but to be honest with you, even P5 I think is probably more than he expected out of this race after his qualifying session where he only managed 12th place. We're on lap 8 of 17 here. Vittorio Garelli is driving away at the front of the order, although Vladimiros Siortsis is pushing. He's currently lapping a little bit faster. However, 6.3 seconds in 9 laps, more or less 8 laps at this stage, is an ask potentially beyond anything that can be done. Siortsis, with local support from the ambassador for Cyprus to Czechia. Again, a showcase of just how much support is behind Vladimiros from his home nation. 2nd place would certainly be a good start to his weekend in EuroNASCAR Pro, of course. Currently well in that championship fight in EuroNASCAR 2. up against NASCAR. Just looking now to see whether Liam Hasemans has served his drive-through yet. Yes, he has, I believe, because he's registered as having made 2 pit stops. Of course, he made a stop to get the bonnet back down. I think he's now made his second stop for the drive-through as well. So for Liam Hasemans, this is going to be another race to forget. And unfortunately, the list of races to forget for Hasemans this year, I think, far exceeds the list of races to savour. Pirelli heading through the switchbacks here. So many of the corners here at Most, you go left to right to left to right. It's very physical. 21 corners packed into 2.6 miles. Very narrow circuit as well, not in the sense of the actual tarmac, although that is a little bit narrower than some of the other venues that we go to. Oh, and big bodywork down there. We just got a look at that. Vittorio Girelli had to steer out of the way of some huge bodywork that was left on the exit of the last corner. Meanwhile, Jack Davidson trying to salvage his race after going off earlier on. I think I found the missing bodywork, because there's the 88 car of Massimiliano Lanza getting overtaken with the entirety of his rear bodywork missing. Dario Casso says, don't mind if I do as well. Lanza has dropped through the order somewhat there. You can see just how much bodywork has been left behind. I'm not sure if that is from Lanza or somebody else, but clearly there is a lot of bodywork there. Davidson, though, back up to 11th place. So Jack Davidson, after going off, trying to get past Fabrizio Armetta a little earlier on, he's recovering his way through the pack now. Jack Davidson then in the 48 car, working his way through. Let's see if he can get back into the top 10. He's got 3 seconds before he can get himself to the rear of Fabrizio Armetta to try and get back into that top 10. Incidentally, Armetta also looking to try and close in on Romagnoli for the Challenger class lead. We'll see if he can do that. Dario Casso all over the back of the number 88. I understand it's not just bodywork. There is debris on the main straight, but there's also oil in turn 21 as well. So the last corner of the lap is laced with a bit of oil. That could be dangerous. Battle for third position comes across the start-finish line once again. Lap 11 of the race. And Anthony Kumpen really late on the brakes. Again, Kumpen seems to have a mighty amount of faith in that brake pedal. Gets himself past the admittedly quite wounded Lucas Lasser, number 64. Into third position goes Anthony Kumpen. And he's only 2 seconds off of Vladimiros Tsiotsis. So if he can make sure that he keeps himself ahead of Lasser and now disappears up the road to maybe try and catch Tsiotsis, Kumpen could yet get second place out of this. I think that with Lasser's car walking wounded, Kumpen can focus more so, I think, on his chances of getting up to Tsiotsis, but Tsiotsis will be watching. Tsiotsis will be watching in the mirrors, and I'm sure he's got a little bit of pace in hand if he needs it. Vittorio Girelli, incidentally, I think he's just managing his race at the moment. The gap that was 6 seconds to Tsiotsis is down to 4.7. So Girelli has lost a couple of seconds, but he's also set, I believe, the fastest lap of the race. So firstly, that should mean pole position for him tomorrow as it stands. I don't think anyone's gone quicker, no. But moreover, what he can now do is focus on preserving his tyres, which of course is all important because these tyres will be on the car tomorrow as well, as long as it's dry. There's Thomas Chrysonis, just behind Thomas Tefel, 7th and 8th place respectively. Tefel in the 34 and the 46 of Chrysonis. Fighting, I think, for both of their best results this season, if memory serves me correctly. Chrysonis has one top 10 to his name this season. Tefel is yet to register a top 10 this year, so certainly for Thomas it would be his best result. Again, you see the signs of what happened on the first lap. I think just about everybody left that first lap with scars. Bit wide there through turn 10 for Tefel, but he continues to press on. Pirelli continues to lead the way, but the gap between first and second place is significantly more than this battle for 7th and 8th. Thomas Tefel coming under increasing pressure from Chrysonis. This is not just the battle for 7th overall, it's also the Challenger class leader, saving off 3rd in the junior category. So I think I said earlier on that Romagnoli is your Challenger class leader, but that's not true. Thomas Tefel is your Challenger class leader at the moment, so my apologies to Thomas. At the moment, he's headed towards that win, and oh well, running over that debris isn't going to help his case, but he definitely ran over the debris on the exit of turn 21 there. Can quite easily cut a tyre doing that. I think both Romagnoli and Armetta are closing in. You can see in the back a shot there that Fabrizio Armetta has really closed in on Riccardo Romagnoli. Romagnoli, who currently sits second in the Challenger class to Armetta, I'm sure will be keen to hold off the 55 if possible. Both cars, of course, from the Club Motorsport stables, so I'm sure Team Boss is saying, well, let's not be too physical in this battle. Tefel and Chrysonis fighting for 7th and 8th, 9th and 10th, Romagnoli and Armetta. Our Challenger class leader, of course, Tefel, it's a bit of a debate really. Do I defend this? Guy's not in my class. Do I defend this or do I let him go? If he doesn't let him go and he continues to defend, he could lose time to the two cars behind him that are also in the Challenger class. But equally, if Chrysonis remains behind Thomas Tefel, well, Tefel's got a buffer between himself and the Challenger runners. Tefel, though, locking up there. However, not quite able to sneak by there, Chrysonis. Thomas Tefel continues on in 7th place then. I thought that error might cost him, but he's managed to get out of it. Armetta and Romagnoli fighting further back as well. I didn't spot this at the time, so my apologies to Neo Lambert for not noticing, but he's fallen out of the order because his car is parked at the chicane, at the first corner. So Neo Lambert's car has come to a halt. I don't think we saw that on the live pictures exactly what happened, but it looks like his car is broken down, unfortunately. So Neo Lambert, who was up in the top 5 at one point, sadly out of this race. Meanwhile, Chrysonis hounding the rear of Thomas Tefel. Look at the pace he carried there through the apex of turn 13. Chrysonis could have an opportunity here, but he goes to the outside line rather than the inside. Tefel, though, takes a wider berth, misses that apex a little bit. That squares up this corner, makes him take that apex slower as well. Chrysonis will now be looking for a good run past the back of the paddock, and I think Tefel may be under serious pressure here now. He's gone defensive, he's picked the inside line early, but Chrysonis, braver later on the brakes, he gets through into 7th position then. Chrysonis up to 7th place, but for Tefel, he still leads Challenger. However, he's got to worry about the threat from behind. Romagnoli and Armetta crossing the line just 3/10 apart behind these two. Fabrizio Armetta yet to find a way through. Armetta, of course, recovering from his part in the first corner scrum. He was one of many drivers who lost positions as a result of that first corner incident, and he's worked his way back into the top 10. He's also right on the verge of 2nd place in the class as well, with his closest competitor in the Challenger Trophy Championship battle. At the front of the pack, Vittorio Garelli. And we've just seen there, I think, a little bit of Club Motorsport sportsmanship there, because Romagnoli rather allowed Fabrizio Armetta through there. I'm quite surprised that Romagnoli did that, because these two are fighting for a championship together. However, Romagnoli deciding that Armetta was the quicker driver and allowing him through. Now that's interesting, because Armetta, I reckon, can close in on Thomas Tefel before the end of this race. Meanwhile, we look back at the walking wounded battle behind the race leader between Liam Hasemans and Sebastian Bleekemolen. Bleekemolen is about 4 laps off of Liam Hasemans, mind you. Oh, and into 2nd place has gone Anthony Kumpen. And I believe that may have happened down at turn 1 in the back of shot. I apologise, I was watching the back markers there at the foreground of shot, but in the background, I think Kumpen has managed to get his way past Siortsis down into the first chicane. Okay, so Vladimiros Siortsis has lost out. He was losing time again to Vittorio Garelli over the last few laps, and now Anthony Kumpen has struck into 2nd place, and Fabrizio Armetta has stopped. Armetta is in the gravel at turn 20. So just after he got past Romagnoli, just after Riccardo Romagnoli seemingly allowed him past, Armetta has ended up in the gravel trap. Double waved yellows at turn 20 as a result of that. Unsurprisingly so. So one of the better overtaking opportunities towards the end of the lap has been neutralised as a result of that. But I don't know what happened to Armetta. Big shame, though, for Fabrizio Armetta that he's stranded there. The championship leader in the Challenger category for AM drivers competing in EuroNASCAR Pro. Armetta has been really solid this season, and unfortunately, he's going to lose out to Tefel, he's going to lose out to Romagnoli in the points. This is the final lap of the race. This is Sebastian Bleekemolen. Bleekemolen is several laps off the lead, of course. It's Vittorio Garelli in the similar 72 car that leads the way. He's just ahead of the Mustang-bodied Team Bleekemolen car. 72, Vittorio Garelli. On that final lap, he's 6.2 seconds clear of Anthony Kumpen. He is safe from Kumpen. Kumpen, I think, may well be safe from Siortsis, but saying that, he does have that lap traffic ahead of him in the form of Bleekemolen, so maybe not. Lucas Lasser under significant pressure from Martin Dubek, who, as it stands, is going to register a top 5 finish here on his home turf, perhaps unexpectedly after his qualifying performance, but he'd love to surge further up the order than he already is, if possible. Lucas Lasser and Martin Dubek are closing in on Vladimiros Siortsis, and I'm wondering if Siortsis has a problem, because he's backed off of Anthony Kumpen in a big way there. He's now under significant pressure for his final podium position. Can Lasser or Dubek find a way through? Lest we forget, turn 20 is covered by double-waved yellows. Hopefully Leclerc is aware and doesn't go for a move here, because it won't be counted either way. And indeed, it is a stalemate through turn 20. Meanwhile, here's your winner, Vittorio Garelli, out of the final corner. He secures yet another win in EuroNASCAR Pro. Vittorio Garelli making amends for misfortunes in days gone by, taking another win there. Anthony Kumpen taking second place, and Lucas Leclerc managed to get to P3 there, according to my timing screen. Yes, he did. Siortsis ended up in 5th position. So I think Siortsis did have an issue, because Lucas Leclerc got through into 3rd place. Martin Dubek managed to get to 4th position on home turf. Vladimiros Siortsis takes 5th overall. He still takes the junior win. But Siortsis seemingly had a problem there right at the end of the race. Ulysse Delceau taking 6th position and 2nd among the juniors. Thomas Grassonis taking 7th place and 3rd among the juniors. Thomas Tefel takes 8th overall and also the Challenger Trophy win. Riccardo Romagnoli taking 2nd in that category. Jack Davidson managed to recover to 10th place overall after his misfortunes on the first lap. Dario Casso managed to finish in 11th place. That's also 3rd in Challenger for him. Massimiliano Lanza is due across the line momentarily to take 12th place. Dorchikova will take 13th position ahead of Liam Hazemans, who's a couple of laps down, of course, because of the drive-through penalty. Gianmarco Ercoli, our championship leader coming into this race, finishing just 15th position. So the championship order will be shaken up, and I suspect it will be Lucas Leclerc leading the championship, potentially, if my terrible commentator maths are not failing me. He will be leading the championship, and will Anthony Kumpen have got through into 2nd? I don't think he would have done, but I'm sure that better heads than me are working on that calculation as we speak. I think Anthony Kumpen, who was 25 points off of Gianmarco Ercoli, he probably hasn't managed to get himself through into 2nd in the championship, but Leclerc will resume the championship lead by my calculations. This is the start of the race then, and this is where it went wrong for so many drivers. Hazemans into the rear of Kumpen. That sent his bonnet up in the air. That sent a half dozen, maybe more cars over the gravel or through the tyre barriers. Gianmarco Ercoli, again, watch Ercoli in the back of shot. He just ran out of room, frankly. There was too much going on into that corner. And he ended up into the side of Tobias Downhauer's car. Downhauer was a retirement, and Ercoli's car soldiered on, albeit extremely damaged. Martin Dubek was briefly in 2nd place. Siortsis got past him for 3rd, and then Lucas Leclerc made his way through into P4. Now, Leclerc's car wasn't damaged after the first lap, so that damage that was on the car later on as he got passed by Anthony Kumpen was clearly set later on in the race. Now, I'm not sure exactly when and where and how that happened to Lucas Leclerc, but he did end up with damage. I thought that was from first lap, but apparently not, because we saw the car walking unwounded after the first lap incidents. Tefel and Grassonis then, they had a really good scrap in the second half of the race, but ultimately Grassonis would find his way through into what was 7th overall. And here's what happened at the final corner. Yeah, Siortsis' car just seemed to be flagging. Looked like he was struggling to turn in a little bit there. I don't know whether it was maybe a slight suspension or tyre issue or something of that nature. There was a lot of debris down, so a cut tyre is possible. But certainly it looked as though it was a straight line speed issue. So maybe it could have been something quite different under the bonnet. Difficult to say, but clearly there was an issue at the end of the race for Vladimiros Siortsis, which rather cruelly robs him of a podium. Nonetheless, he will score full points in the junior trophy element of the race, and that will help his campaign in that category. But I think that'll be a bittersweet pill for him to swallow as he continues to fight Ulis Del So for the junior honours in EuroNASCAR Pro. Well, for Vittorio Garelli, it's his second win of the season. Took that first win last time out at the Vallelunga circuit. And I'm just getting some provisional points situations through with my thanks to Razor from the media team. Provisionally speaking, Gianmarco Ercoli would in fact remain championship leader. However, he and Lucas Lasser would be tied on 234 points apiece. This is all provisional, but it would be 234 points apiece, with Gianmarco Ercoli remaining our championship leader because he has more victories in the bank. But that is very interesting if that proves to be the case. Gianmarco Ercoli and Lucas Lasser tied on points, and Vittorio Garelli third in the championship. So Garelli within 10 points of the championship lead provisionally because of this result. But Ercoli and Lasser tied on 234, Garelli on 224, and Anthony Kumpen on 222. So the top four within a dozen points provisionally going into Sunday at Moss, as Vittorio Garelli climbs to the top of his car to celebrate a second win of the season so far in the EuroNASCAR Pro Championship. The former EuroNASCAR 2 champion has had rotten luck at times in EuroNASCAR Pro, but he's really come good over the summer here in the EuroNASCAR paddock. He and Team Blake Molan seem to be working in lockstep together, and it is yielding some very impressive results. Andre Viegold will be down towards the race winner soon to grab a word after he's had his debrief and his hugs from his team. 224 points provisionally then, just 10 points off the championship lead, which would be tied going into Sunday. Gianmarco Ercoli and Lucas Lasser provisionally on 234 apiece. This EuroNASCAR season is really starting to feel like a special one. And for Vittorio Garelli, it's another special one, a second win for the Italian. Down to you, Andre.
Thank you so much, Adam. I'm here with the race winner. It was a chaotic first turn, but then you managed to have a really, really good race, right?
Yeah, I did a fantastic start. I caught like 2 seconds from P1. We did a good strategy with pressures, so my car was very, very fast in the first laps. Then I had a good gap, so I managed out, you know, with the... I controlled the tires, but it got very tricky because there was debris on track, there was oil in the last corner. I had 2 or 3 moments where I said, oh my God, that was close. But yeah, important is that we took it. It's been a very good weekend so far, and let's keep it up tomorrow. We're starting P1, so let's do it.
How surprised were you when you saw Sebastian Blakemont, your teammate's car, right next to you, and you were going 3 wide into the first corner?
Oh, I was so sorry, but basically he was on the outside. I braked, even leaving him in the space, but from behind, I don't know who it was, I think the 24, he gave me like 2 or 3 pushes, and I nearly went out in turn 1. But I managed to keep it, and I think he caught the corner, but then had a puncture or something, so he had to also pit stop. But it's a pity because we were both in the front, you know, but you know, some drivers are a bit too aggressive, but the important is that we took the P1, and that's what counts.
All right, thank you so much. Grazie mille, congratulations.
See you tomorrow, guys.
Oh, well, well. Great to hear from Vittorio Garelli, who now receives the ceremonial sticker. And for the second time this season, he has the rather inconspicuous honour of trying to peel a sticker off on live television, but he now gets the rather more exciting duty of sticking it above his door. Second time this season, a EuroNASCAR Pro winner is Vittorio Garelli. And Andre getting gifts and everything. Bribery is a strong thing, huh? Down to you though, because you've got Thomas Tuffel next to you.
Challenger Trophy winner Thomas Tuffel. It was a very, very intensive race for you because you had some battles on track, right?
Yeah, really. Because with my qualification was not so good, so I was also lucky that all the guys in the front make a big crash at the beginning. So I take this chance, and after I was with the good guy, and I can have a good level all the race. And because of the NASCAR 2, after I let pass the 48 at the end because it was too much risk, and I want to drive the next race.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much and see you later.
Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
Yeah, great to see Thomas Tuffel up there at the sharp end, well within the top 10. And I think his most successful race in either of the EuroNASCAR categories to date. There's Anthony Kumpen heading through shot. Anthony, who will himself be a lot closer to championship lead now after that race. A lot of very interesting permutations coming out of this race for many people, including this man, Ulysse Delso.
Thank you so much, Adam. Ulysse Delso, from your view, what happened in turn 1?
Turn 1, it was a big, some driver touch, and I can move, and I lost many position, and I've taken some debris, and I was in battle with someone, and I take one position, and some driver retired, and we have many debris in the lap, is the next lap, and I was telling me, please, my car, stay on the track, don't puncture, please, and to take another top 10, finish the race, and another podium in Junior Trophy. It's a good result for me and the team.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. Back to you, Adam.
There you go, great job, Ulysse Delso. As I'll let Andre keep going because he's immediately managed to catch Anthony Kumpen. He's good at this whole catching drivers thing. Let's go back down.
Thank you so much, Adam. Anthony, it was an eventful race for you, right?
I thought it was over in the first corner. We were talking about it before the start, and my start was perfect. I managed to help a bit Vittorio because he was not so good in the start. So I thought we go together. And then in the braking zone, me and Vittorio, we braked at the same point. Exactly fantastic. And then from behind somebody came, I don't know, I didn't see the footage yet. And then I went into Blekemolen, which is very unfortunate for him, but I couldn't do anything. They crashed into me. And then I was in the gravel trap. I thought my steering was a bit bent. I had no front grip anymore, but I managed to come from 7 to 2, so not so bad. Tomorrow we try to win.
Just for information, I just repeat what race control said. It was a stop-and-go penalty then for the number 50 Hazemans.
Yeah, it was a stupid mistake from the one who pushed me. I don't know. Okay, I must say it's very difficult to see. The braking zone, you cannot see where's the 120 meter where you have to brake. I didn't see it either, but I was watching the lights of Vittorio, so he should have watched my lights, the braking lights. That's the only reference point you have. And but he did it. I think he did it last year, so I'm gonna talk to him. I know him since he's a baby. I still pushed him in the push car, so I will explain him how to do it tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much. Back to you, Adam.
Chats with Uncle Anthony then for Liam Hazemans after that first corner, and Anthony Kumpen measured there. I think he's got a lot to be happy about coming out of that race. Our race winner, Vittorio Garelli, once again heads towards the podium where he will take the top step. As you can see, the podium front and central in the paddock. The drivers will get to celebrate with their teams, with the fans here at the Autodrom Most. So the podium will be presented shortly. Of course, it will be Vittorio Garelli who takes the top step. Vladimir Osiortsis taking the third step of the podium, but that's rather strange because he didn't finish third on track, did he? That was Lucas Lasserre. A little bit confused by that, but Osiortsis is there on the third step nonetheless. He certainly dropped down to fifth before the end of the race. Anthony Kumpen taking second position then, and Vittorio Garelli, he is our winner. We will now see the trophy presentation, of course. And isn't that a happy podium situation there for the Cypriot fans? And Anthony Kumpen receiving his second place trophy, of course, a bottle of Pano as well, courtesy of the courtesy of the Guarin family, the partners of NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. And this man, Vittorio Garelli, will receive the same. They pose for the pictures, and just before the anthem start, I just want to confirm that there was a post-race penalty, cars 64 and 7 swapping positions, so Vladimir Osiortsis does take third place. The stewards have decided Osiortsis takes third place, but for the moment we celebrate along with Vittorio Garelli, who receives a champagne shower, or rather gives a champagne shower, I should say, after that race. Another win for the 72 crew at Team Blake Molan. They are having a mighty season. It's the first year for Garelli and Blake Molan as a combination, and I think it's working rather well. But yes, I believe the podium result changing there because both Lucas Lasserre and Martin Dubeck were judged to have overtaken under yellow flags Vladimir Osiortsis there. Of course, there was a double-waved yellow at turn 20 because of Fabrizio Armeta's stranded car, but it seems that they were judged to have overtaken under yellow flags, and therefore Osiortsis is restored to the podium. Thomas Chrysonis taking the third step, Ulysse Delso taking the second step, and Vladimir Osiortsis the winner in the junior trophy class for drivers up to 25 years of age. So the speedy Cypriot regaining his overall podium there because of stewards' decisions. However, more importantly for him, I'd say, in his battle with Ulysse Delso, he's on the top step of that podium. And in fact, I believe that CEST and Del So will be potentially tied up in the junior rankings, or at least very close to it. That battle between Del So and CEST has been very fun to watch so far, as both of them are scrapping for that junior trophy championship, and as this man receives the top prize in the junior category, he can smile, hold up his bottle of Guerin family Panot, pose for his pictures once again towards the sharp end of the order. Vladimiros CEST showing his mettle. The car did seem to let go in some capacity on that final lap, but he's managed to salvage a good result, and will now turn focus towards the EuroNASCAR 2 race, which of course will take place a little later on today. We'll be going live with that one at 5 p.m. Central European if you wish to see more EuroNASCAR action later on. One more podium ceremony to come, of course, and that is the Challenger Trophy. Dario Casso taking the third step of that podium. He did a good job working his way from the back of the grid there. Riccardo Romagnoli taking second place. Of course, he allowed Fabrizio Armetta through, but just a few corners later, Armetta ended up in the gravel trap. So Riccardo Romagnoli taking the second spot. And Thomas Tuffel to the top step for Race Art Technology. Giorgio Maggi's car didn't take the start, but something of a consolation prize provided by Thomas Tuffel, who will bring home P1 silverware. Huge congratulations to Tuffel, who I think put in a very good race, had a good battle with Thomas Chrysonis as well. Certainly he and Chrysonis succeeded in getting a lot of TV time for their battle, which is often half of the battle in motor racing. Those three pose for pictures at the top of the podium now. Congratulations to all three parties. Tuffel and for Romagnoli, their day isn't over. They'll be racing later on in the EuroNASCAR 2 race. That was the third and final podium. Then we get another look at how this race started. And unfortunately for a few, we get a look at how this race ended as well. Tobias Downhauer ending up in the gravel. Anthony Kumpen being tagged by Liam Hasemans, and that sent the pack into bedlam. Championship leader Gianmarco Ercoli was caught up in that as well. Limped his damaged car home, but has lost all of his championship lead in the process. Sebastian Blakemolen, Liam Hasemans, Anthony Kumpen, Tobias Downhauer, Jimmy Ercoli, a who's who of the EuroNASCAR Pro Grid, in trouble in the early stages. Meanwhile, Lucas Lasser, he managed to move himself up into the podium positions early on by getting past Martin Dubeck. Lasser's car wouldn't remain as immaculate though. He caught some damage somewhere, and Anthony Kumpen managed to get past. For what was at the time third place, he would ultimately of course finish second, as Tuffel and Chrysonis had a good scrap for 7th overall, despite running in separate classes. They had a great scrap, keeping the Czech faithful entertained as they duelled for that 7th position. And then this is the move that I thought gave Lucas Lasser the podium, as Vladimiros CEST slowed down. However, he and Martin Dubeck were still judged to have overtaken under yellows, and in fact, looking at that shot there, as Garelli crossed the line, you could see that the green flag was flying just heading into turn 21. So yes, they did both just about go past while they were still under yellows. The green flag was there at the marshal post adjacent to the entry point of turn 21. So I can definitely see that on second viewing that CEST was overtaken under yellow flags. So Lasser and Dubeck ending up losing their 3rd and 4th positions respectively. Vladimiros CEST claiming a podium. Vittorio Garelli claiming a race win. He will go into the Sunday race for EuroNASCAR Pro feeling rather buoyant, and a few of our drivers will feel very excited as they head into EuroNASCAR 2. That race will take place at 5 p.m. local time, just a couple of hours before the drivers and cars of EuroNASCAR are back out there again for more action at the Autodrom Most.
When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.